If you've ever had the pleasure of listening to Amy Winehouse sing, her unique and powerful contralto voice is likely to have left a lasting impression in your memory. In fact, Classic FM reports that the renowned Tony Bennett once lauded her as one of the finest jazz singers had ever heard, while soprano Catherine Bott described her as possessing one of the voices that's instantly recognizable. Winehouse's songs match the distinctiveness of her voice and image, from the feisty and tragic Rehab to the soulful Back to Black and Tears Dry on Their Own. Her musical output was greatly admired by both industry professionals and fans alike. Despite her undeniable talent, Winehouse's private life was riddled with struggles which mirrored the strength of her musical prowess. She was plagued by personal demons and the harsh scrutiny of the tabloid press, and as her fame grew, her life took a downward turn that she was unable to reverse before it was too late. But today, we reflect on the tragic story of Amy Winehouse as one of the most heartbreaking members of the 27 Club. Early troubles. From a young age, Amy Winehouse displayed undeniable talent, but her early years were also marred by the troubles that would later plague her life. Born to a family of jazz musicians in 1983, Winehouse was exposed to various music styles from a tender age. By 10, she was already part of a rap band, Sweet and Sour, with a salt and pepper influence. In 1996, she secured admission in the renowned Sylvia Young Theatre School at the age of 12. However, she was expelled at the 16 for not applying herself and piercing her nose, indicating an early rebellious streak. It is debatable whether the school was the best place for a young pop star with Winehouse's unique style. Lost her anchor. Amy Winehouse has a deep love for tattoos, and one of her significant ones was a tribute to her grandmother Cynthia. As reported by Birmingham Mail, Winehouse collaborated with tattoo artist Henry Haight to create a special arm piece that featured a crude pin-up girl with hearts and the name Cynthia in cursive. Little did Haight know that this design would become one of the most iconic tattoos in the world. Even though he receives requests to recreate the design, he always declined out of respect for Winehouse and the tattoo's meaning. Cynthia was an important figure in Winehouse's life, and she was not only her grandmother but also a singer who supported her granddaughter's passion for music. Nick Szymanski, Winehouse's first manager, regarded Cynthia as the singer's guardian, and both he and Winehouse's father believed that Cynthia's passing was the catalyst for Winehouse's downfall. She really tried to say yes to Rehab. The song Rehab by Amy Winehouse is known for its defiant lyrics about refusing to go to rehab. But as reported by NME, the song was based on a real incident. Winehouse's substance abuse had become spiraling out of control since her grandmother became ill in early 2005 and her bulimia had resurfaced. Her manager, Nick, tried to convince her to seek help, but she wanted her father to support her decision to go to rehab. When he didn't, Winehouse refused to go, and this incident is said to have been her last chance to tackle her issue before her fame made it even more difficult. She was in a raw relationship. Meanwhile, Winehouse's relationship with Black Fielder Civil was famously turbulent. According to the Daily Beast, they began dating in 2005, around the same time that Winehouse began to adopt her signature look. Fielder Civil introduced her to heroin, crack cocaine, and self-harming, and their relationship was marked by breakup, makeups, and physical violence. Despite the warning signs, Winehouse considered Fielder Civil to be a muse, and even their divorce, she publicly supported him and had a tattoo dedicated to him. At the time of her death in 2011, he was again in prison. Troubles with the law. Amy Winehouse's tumultuous lifestyle often landed her in trouble with the law, particularly during the years after the release of her hit album Back to Black. Sadly, many of her legal troubles were directly related to the struggles with substance abuse. The Norwegian authorities arrested her in 2007 for cannabis possession, and that the same year she was briefly arrested due to her then husband, Blake Fielder Civil's legal issues. In 2008, Amy Winehouse faced further charges, including an assault allegation and an arrest for alleged drug offenses. Despite her undeniable talent, her ongoing issues with addiction ultimately overshadowed her success and contributed to her ultimately death in 2011. Struggle with addiction. Amy Winehouse's battle with addiction is widely known as the most tragic part of her life. According to Deutsche Welle, Winehouse turned drinking heavily around the time of her rise to fame, possibly as a way to cope with the pressure of being in the public eye. Her eventual ex-husband, Blake Fielder, who struggled with heroin addiction, was introduced to her during one of her wild nights out, and sooner her addiction began to include drugs as well. By 2009, Winehouse's addiction had taken a toll on both her voice and her career. She was frequently seen violently drunk on stage, leading to booing from the audience and cancelled shows. While her representatives blamed this issue of health reasons, it was clear to everyone that her struggles with alcohol were the cause. Despite finally going to rehab in 2008, as reported by The Guardian, she was unable to stay on the path of recovery. In the end, alcohol claimed her life in 2011, when she was only 27 years old. The singer had some violent tendencies. Amy Winehouse's behavior may have been tumultuous, but few people would immediately associate her with violence. However, the late singer did have some incident where she was accused of assaulting fans. According to a report by CNN, Winehouse allegedly punched someone in the front row of the Glastonbury Festival in 2008, but it was later revealed that the individual has grabbed her breasts. The incident was not an isolated one. In 2009, The Guardian reported that Winehouse was in court after allegedly punching a dancer who had asked her for a selfie at a summer ball. Later that year, Rolling Stone detailed another altercation when Winehouse reportedly attacked a theater owner who was attempting to calm down during a performance of Cinderella. Tabloid troubles. The British tabloids are famous for the invasive coverage of celebrities, and is a struggle that most well-known figures in the country have to contend with at some point in their careers. However, Amy Winehouse's experience with the tabloid was particularly difficult, according to NPR. Winehouse's troubles were compounded by the fact that the media landscape was rapidly changing, with the rise of YouTube and Facebook leading to a high-handed appetite for sensational stories about troubled celebrities. Winehouse became a key figure in this trend. and her fame and notoriety made her a constant target for paparazzi. The situation was made even worse by the fact that almost everyone close to the Winehouse had some kind of media deal, which meant that they were primarily concerned with protecting their own interest rather than supporting the singer. As a result, Winehouse became increasingly isolated and overwhelmed by the constant attention and scrutiny, as documented in the film Amy, directed by Asif Kapadia. In short, Winehouse found herself caught in a perfect storm of media attention, which made it incredibly difficult to her to navigate her personal and professional life. The comeback tour. Some artists are able to overcome their struggles and make a triumphant return to the spotlight. However, as The Guardian reports, this was not the case of Amy Winehouse when she embarked on her 2011 comeback tour. Having largely avoided performance, Winehouse return to the stage was highly anticipated. Unfortunately, her addiction issues has not been resolved, and the tour proved to be a painful reminder of her ongoing struggles. During her performance in Belgrade, Serbia, Winehouse's behavior was erratic and unpredictable. She stopped a song halfway through to introduce her band, but struggled to remember their names. She also had a backup dancer take over vocals on Valerie and even removed a show at one point. The concert was widely panned by the media, with some even labeling it as the worst in the Belgrade's history. The country's Minister of Defense expressed her disappointment, adding to the sense of failure surrounding the tour. Overall, Winehouse's attempt at a comeback was a disastrous failure, and the rest of the tour was promptly cancelled. It was clear that her addiction issues had not been resolved, and the incident served as a painful reminder of the difficulties she faced. The death of Amy Winehouse. Amy Winehouse, who had publicly battled with drugs, alcohol, and other personal issues, passed away on July 23, 2011, at the young age of 27. Her cause of death was determined to be accidental alcohol poisoning, according to The Guardian. Winehouse had a pattern of sobriety followed by binge drinking, and it appears that her body was unable to handle her last episode of heavy drinking. Winehouse was found lifeless in her room the following morning, with a blood alcohol level of 0.416 at the time of her death. It is worth noting that her cause of death is believed to have been truly accidental, as Winehouse had expressed a desire to continue living and had plans for the future. In fact, she reportedly told her doctor shortly before her passing that she was looking forward to the future, as reported by TNT magazine. Despite her struggles, Winehouse's death was a tragic event that left a lasting impact on the music industry and her fans around the world. Her talent and unique style were admired by many, and her ultimately passing was a loss for the music community as a whole.